All right, hey everyone, it is Jason from Northeast Ohio Vinyl Club, now known as the Vinyl Show. What I'm doing now, I have special guest G.S. Harper. He's going to sing a couple songs for us today, and we are on location at El Carnicero in Lakewood. Just had a great talk with Chef Williams about his plight and what's going on here, and it's rough, man. It's bleak, but the reason I'm doing these things is to get out of that bleakness and actually give some people something to have some levity in their lives and everything.
Have some levity and maybe help some folks realize that these businesses are still here.
They are.
And they're struggling and they're trying to, keep operating and be there for us.
That's it. He's got the window open for takeout. There's spacing in here. There's patio seats outside. He's doing it right. Next to us, we were going to try to film. You can see behind him, maybe there's a window screen over here, and there's one next to me. And this thing went super blurry for some reason, but that's okay. Actually, that's not okay. That's horrible.
My whole life's out of focus.
There it is. There we go. I think we're back in there. So he's got it set up right, and we're having a couple Mexican beers like we promised. Cheers, my brother. But that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the businesses that are still out there, that still serving the community. And Williams, when the first shutdown came around, he went in the cooler, took out all the produce, all the stuff, the spoilage stuff that would go, and put it out by the front door. He let everyone, all the employees come out, grab what they wanted, and then left a giant stockpile of stuff so the community said, hey, we got a whole bunch of stuff here, pick it up. And I thought that was one of the coolest things in the world.
That's great. That's fantastic.
So he didn't have to do that. He could have let the stuff rot in the cooler, but he didn't know what he was going to do, and it's just going to sit there. A lot of restaurants could have done that. That was the first one I heard about doing it. So that was pretty cool. That was very cool. So, my thing, obviously, we're talking about some vinyl records, and GS is. When was the last time you actually played a gig?
Let's see. I did a few this summer, toward the end of summer.
Yeah.
August, September. Only things I could do outdoors, and most of it was by myself. I think we did one gig with the band out on Kelly's Island, because it was outdoors and they had a nice big stage area and it was social distance, it was spaced. They were being really careful, so we went out, we took a boat, decided to go out there and do it. But other than that, the little work I've done has just been solo by myself, outside only, and it's been pretty spaced out.
That's what you said. You said you want to do gigs like this more often. So maybe something positive that came out of it is that I really like playing outside at these things. And I saw the picture you had from one of them. It looked like it was just a campsite. Like you're in Texas or something.
Oh, so that gig, that was over in eastern Ohio, not far from Youngstown, and it was actually more like a hobbit shire or something.
Nice.
We were out in the woods, and it was really beautiful and really nice.
Someone's coming out with bongos from the forest somewhere, and you're like, "What the hell's going on? What's going on?" Oh man, but yeah, and I think that when people come see you live, you put on an amazing show. I mean, you will play for 4 freaking hours. And I think that's part of the piece that I'm missing so much is that I love going to see live music, and I'm missing. I love coming to restaurants because it was kind of a safe space to just chill and relax. I got anxiety like you wouldn't believe, and now even more so to try to find a space that we could go to where you feel safe, and I feel absolutely safe here, which is wonderful. Doesn't help my anxiety that much.
This is well, I wouldn't be indoors right now if this place was, open in any way. But it's, it's worthy of mention. We're the only 2 people in this place.
Exactly.
They let us in just to do this, and that's why I'm indoors and doing this.
Yeah.
I haven't been inside a bar or a restaurant to have food or a drink since March 15th. And it was weird at first, not in that I wanted or needed to do it, but just in that I wasn't doing it because that's so much of my life.
Yeah.
These are the venues that I work in. And I did, for the first time in 30 years, I haven't done that this year.
That's nuts.
And it's been different for sure. It hasn't been as hard on me as it has on a lot of other people. I suffer from really chronic anxiety and panic disorders as well. But it's not, mine comes from being around people, and having to do things.
And that's the opposite of what you do, is to be up on front of stage.
On the stage is the only place I don't deal with those issues because they don't exist there. That's where I feel completely comfortable. I'm in my own little cubby, my own little space, my safe zone. And so, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm most comfortable at. So that's the only time it doesn't bother me at all. and it's really been much better this year because I haven't even had the anxiety of having to make excuses of why I don't want to go do things.
I do the same thing.
When people email me or call me or text me now, I just go, no.
No, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't I don't have to explain myself or feel guilty about it so this year's actually been kind of good for me.
That's not bad for us that are hiding out somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think I do the same thing. If people and I used to write, my blog I used to do. I think I got a snippet on your website when we talked about the album you put out.
Yep.
And a lot of websites, probably here too. I did a blog here for when you first opened. It's easy being behind a pen. It's easy being behind the camera when I was doing that. This, fuck,
Because you seem pretty comfortable.
I'm getting used to it. But I think people notice if I ever say, people say, you got anxiety? You suffer from anxiety? I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, man, it's ridiculous. If you watch these things, and I'm real comfortable this time because I'm with GS and I've known him for freaking years. I'm shaking, I'm bobbing. I'm stuttering. I'm doing everything that the last couple ones, and I still will do it. But it's wild that I found this medium to say I actually can do this because I hate this. I can't stand it. I was meant to be behind a pen or a pad of paper behind the camera, not in front of it. But I needed to do this. This was one of those things I said I could write about it. No one's reading what you're writing anymore. It just doesn't happen. It's you have to have the video at this point. You have to have a podcast. You have to have that physical media.
It's got to be a multimedia experience.
It does.
Nobody reads newspapers anymore.
No.
If it's not accompanied by pictures and on your phone, and it fits in that box, right? It's hard to get anyone's attention with anything.
We don't even have a newspaper for all intents and purposes right now. So the plain dealer is absolutely junk. So where's everyone getting their media from? It's these kind of things, which is cool. But I like looking at this every once in a while.
Media right now is kind of in a revolution, kind of in a transitional phase. It's media is becoming what DIY music was in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
It's where where musicians who maybe couldn't get on a big label or a big tour were doing everything themselves and putting out their own videos and their own records, and that whole DIY thing really started to gain traction. And I think media is becoming the same thing. Where, the big magazines and newspapers and TV stations, the terrestrial media as we know it is kind of ceasing to exist, and it's getting taken over by guys with a camera.
Yeah.
Who just want to go get it done for themselves.
That's it. And I think that a lot of them are becoming pay to play. And I've noticed like with some of the bigger sites like the Times or Washington Post or whatever it was, I'm like, oh, cool, good article. And then I get a paragraph of it, and then I got to sign up for $1 a week or something like that. I'm like, I'm not signing up for $1 a week to get the news. Just not going to happen for me. There's other outlets.
I understand why they're doing it, because when you're not selling newspapers or magazines anymore, you got to do something.
That's it.
It costs money even to have a website and to employ people. So I don't know how they're surviving.
It just doesn't make any sense. Well, we're going to get with it because we could talk for 7 hours nonstop.
I definitely could.
And I think that we have a lot to say about what's going on. And I brought some records because we met about 10 years ago at Alley Fest. Was that at least 10 years ago at the
It might
Fire?
have been longer, but it was at minimum 10.
All right, so I went to when I started writing, they had a thing, Allie, she fell down the damn stairs.
And broke her neck.
So musicians in Cleveland, which are amazing people that I've learned through the years, got together at the Town Friar at the Agora location, and said we're going to raise money, and we're going to have a 2-day long thing of all musicians, and it was amazing. So I sat there for 6 hours watching people. Your friend that just passed away, that was the first dude that I saw play. Randy Daniels. He was amazing. Brent Kirby comes on. He plays solo. That was freaking amazing. You come in there, play. Then Jack Ford's get on stage. You're upstage with like Jack Ford's. It was this giant community.
There was a huge community, and Austin Sharon was there, and gosh, I don't even remember who all. I was really amazed when I went to put that show together. I didn't know, who I'd be able to get or who would be busy, because doing things on a weekend with working musicians is hard. Because we're all booked so far out in advance. But because it was an all-day and all-night thing for 2 days, I was able to finagle time slots for everybody when they could be there. And if they could be there during the day but they had a gig at night, or if they had a gig during the day but could be there in the evening, I was able to work But one of the things that blew me away was how many people jumped, to come and help and be part of that. And that says a lot, not only about who they are, but about what an impact, the town crier and the Porter girls, Susan,
Yeah.
Allie, and Katie had on that community,
Yeah.
and on the Roots music community in general. That's, they gave us a home, and everyone really stepped up to be a part of that and to help them out.
And I think I discovered a lot of music, the roots music, Americana, from that. To follow you around, to see Brent and those bands, and then just I was always into it a little bit. I dabbled in Uncle Tupelo like most do in the '80s, and then where did I go from there? You learn a whole bunch of shit. Pardon me. I try not to swear. It happens. It's a natural conversation, and you turned me on to Towns. Towns Van Zandt was one of the ones that you turned on to, and I'm telling you, listen to some of these records. They're depressing. Man,
and these are the happy songs.
Absolutely.
That's what Towns would say,
And that was it for me. And I started discovering more. And I talk about my records, so let me throw that in there, Towns. And this one's Delta Mama Blues. Someone said this was their favorite one. That was their jam today. And I'm like, I haven't even opened it. I haven't listened to it. Fat Possum Records came out with reissues of these because the new ones are so expensive. For the sake of the song, I found that was the first album, and played it today. And I'm familiar with the songs thanks to you and thanks to your Towns Fest that you did. And I knew a lot of the songs on this album. And it's amazing. It is depressing though too.
They can be pretty dark.
Crazy Heart, that was one of my favorite soundtracks, favorite movies with the dude, which is why I'm wearing this dude sweater, right?
That is a killer dude sweater.
And I brought Lebowski too, but Towns is on this, and a ton of Americana, a ton of folk is on here. But the song "If I Needed You" by Towns is on this one, and that's probably my favorite cut by Towns. And the reason for the sweater, this is a real deal too. This is a Pendleton. It's like wearing a bear. Just so you know, it's like 2 inches thick and it's hot as hell, but I'm okay with it. But
You're hot as hell.
The Lebowski album, phenomenal, and he does the classic Stones cover of Dead Flowers, which everyone knows by heart because of this movie. So, when I had GS do, I said, come on out and maybe play a couple songs for us, and play us a Town song. And play us an original song, and just let's let people hear you. And I want people to support you too. And I don't know how to do that. Do you even know how to do that in this time? Do you have some sort of?
Well, my work nowadays is until things get different. I'm not one of these guys who's going to go back to playing in bars anytime soon. I don't. With the rate of infection spiking so much, with the pandemic going on, and now musicians I know personally are getting it, and they're getting it from going and playing in bars. And I understand, the want and the need to work and to normalize things.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it. I have high-risk people in my family, and it's not worthwhile.
No.
I'm not personally scared. I'm pretty healthy. I'm young. I think if I get it, I got a pretty good shot of being fine.
You're from Texas, man. You're getting beat its ass by it, so you just have that alone.
I got a son with respiratory issues. I got a mother-in-law in her 70s. I got a niece that's got a newborn baby. I got there's people in my life that I have to see and do things for and interact with that I don't even really care that much about myself. But if I were to give it to somebody, one of them, and it turned out poorly, I'd never forgive myself.
It would absolutely kill me to do
what
that.
I'm doing right now, I just ordered some new gear so that I can get a much higher audio quality for streaming.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll be doing until it gets warm again and I can play outside again in the spring. I'll be doing streaming shows exclusively through my Facebook page, which is just GS Harper.
GS Harper, look for it.
Yeah, you can put a link or whatever in. It's just GS Harper on Facebook, and I'll be putting some events together and sending out event invites if we're friends on Facebook or social media or whatnot. I'll be putting all that out there. There'll be more dates soon for streaming shows through the fall and winter.
And that's the key. I see people are just kicking ass at doing the streaming stuff. But again, a lot of people don't have money because no one's working.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got to still stay relevant. I mean, that's the key. And hopefully, someone will throw money in the hat.
I'm lucky. I have a pretty good following. I'm lucky in that I've been pretty well established. Here in Cleveland for the last 20 plus years, and also in some other markets around the country. Where
You've done some Buffalo too. I mean, you've got a decent thing in
I've
Buffalo.
done some Buffalo things, and I used to work for back in the mid '90s and early '90s. I worked out in New Mexico for the Boy Scouts of America. I worked in the backcountry for Philmont Scout Ranch, and by that I've got friends. Through that, I've got friends all over the country. That are even some of the outdoor shows I did back this past fall were booked by people that I knew from the ranch back in the '90s.
Wow.
And those people, it's a kind of a brotherhood and a family that's not like anything else. They're very supportive. And I've got them, and I've got some very good, reliable patrons here in Cleveland that are huge supporters of mine that I'm very thankful for, that always come through. If I do a stream or something, I see those names pop up consistently, and they're in a position to help out, so they do. And at some point, that check will come due, and I'm sure they'll get it back. I'll do something nice for them too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So what do you want to play? What are you going to play for us? Take another sip before you do it. Come on, you got to be ready.
Well, let's see. Talking about towns is interesting. It always. I'm always caught, back on my heels when somebody's got the records and they've got them in front of me, because when I came to towns and was learning about towns and getting into towns music, nobody had the records. They were incredibly rare. They were out of print. They weren't reissued because he wasn't popular like he is now.
Yeah.
It was when he was still alive toward the end of his life, and then right after his death, nobody knew who Towns was outside of Texas. And he did a couple of the Ralph Emery shows on TNN and stuff like that, but he wasn't popular, and the records were impossible to find.
And I think that documentary did a lot too.
Yeah.
And that documentary was holy shit. I mean, it was.
Be Here to Love Me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
If you see something about the tortured soul of a musician that's suffering from addiction and mental health issues, it's just wave over wave of how the hell did this guy make it as long as he did with the cards he was dealt.
It was Towns' story is dark. It's also inspiring.
Yeah.
It's a true tale of tortured genius, But back to the records, like I said, you couldn't get those.
No.
They weren't around. So I never have had the Towns records. I mean, I've been a fan forever. I've done the Towns Fest every year, the Towns, Van Zandt tribute show that I put together every year with Kate.
This one I'm giving to you, by the way, my friend.
Oh, man. Thanks, man.
Because I know we had that conversation
Wow.
at Otis's, how much
Yeah.
you wanted to grab one. So I said,
I've never had the records. I had, back in the 90s and 80s in Texas, and even after that, when I was up here in the early 2000s and stuff, I met people who brought me to Towns music and taught me about it. And it was always, the Memorex cassette tape. That, was made
boot
from
of
a
a
copy
boot
of
of
a
a boot.
copy of a
Yeah.
copy, and the first one I got was Live at the Old Quarter. Which anytime someone asks me what should I get, what's my intro to Towns, it's the most accessible, that has the most cool songs, which record should I buy, I always tell everybody Live at the Old Quarter.
That's great.
But anyway, Towns, we'll start with a Towns song. This is a tune, it's always been special to me. There's a little area in northern New Mexico, like I said, down in Cimarron. I used to work for the ranch out there. And about 50 miles north of there on Highway 64, right on the interstate, is a little town called Raton. And I remember all the times I spent in Raton. The first time I heard this song, I was like, I actually know where that is. But this is a Towns tune called Snowing on Raton. When the wind don't blow in Amarillo, and the men along the Gunnison don't rest, shall I cast dreams upon your love, dear? Lie beneath the laughter in your eyes. It's snowing on its own. Come morning, I'll be through them hills and gone. Well, my bed, the years goodbye, you cannot steal them. You can't outrun the circles of the sun. You cannot know the miles until you feel them. You cannot hold a lover who is gone. It's snowing on the dawn. Come on, I'll be through them hills and gone. Little mother thinks the road is long and lonely. Little brother thinks the road is straight and kind. Little darling thinks the road is soft and lovely. I'm thankful that old road's a friend of mine. It's snowing on its own. Come morning, I'll be through them hills and gone. In the morning, all the mountains will be sleeping, silent beneath their blankets, green and blue. But I shall hear the silence they are keeping. I'll bring all their promises to you, 'cause it's snowing on the tongue. Come morning, I'll be through them hills and gone. It's snowing on the tongue. Come morning, I'll be through them hills and gone.
It's amazing. Now this is the part where everyone would be clapping, but it's just me and you. That's
I'm
amazing.
your private dancer.
I've heard you do some really good ones, some really good covers. I don't think I ever heard Private Dancer before, but again, with the covers that you do a ton of originals. We'll hear an original next, but you do those originals and then you throw in stuff, those curveballs. Like we were at the Mars Bar the one time, and you threw in an NXS for Jeanette. Then you threw in oh my God, Cruel to Be Kind was on there. Shit that I never think of hearing or listening to in a long time, and you know it in the back of your head. And I think that's one of the most incredible things, how you adapt as a musician, is the fact that you kind of got to be everything to everybody, because Cleveland, as much of a music town as Cleveland is, it's a cover town. There's a lot of tributes out there that pack them in. And I had this conversation multiple times with you, with Brent, with Chris Allen, anyone that was playing out, doing their original material, of how hard it is to go to a cover band tribute show, which they're great. I love them. I have friends in tribute bands, and I love going to that because I love seeing that stuff and you gotta blow off steam. But the crowds are better at some of these shows than they are to see us real songwriters.
It is, and that's just. There's no point in trying to figure out why or how or what. It just is what it is. Me personally, I know tons and tons and tons of covers, and I obviously write a lot of songs, almost as many. But it's I look at things from a little bit different perspective. Like I don't have a problem with cover bands or tribute bands. Some people have this animosity going on, and I don't get it.
There's some, and
it's
that's what I was talking
it's like
about.
The Simpsons, the old man yelling at the clouds. It's like, what are you going to do about it?
There's nothing.
If somebody wants to go watch, WNCX on stage, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about it.
No.
But for me personally, I embrace what they are and their need for their space in the scene or whatever else. I don't embrace their purpose or their reason in what I do. I would never I don't ever approach a project, a band, or even covering a song from the perspective of I'm going to do this because people will like it and I'll make money.
You do it because it's cool.
I've never done that. If I play a song, it's because I like it. And I don't play any songs I don't like. That's always my rule. And you know, if somebody's like, well, why don't you do this? Well, I don't really like that. Well, everybody else does. Well, good for them. You know, there's 20 other songs on my list tonight that they're going to like and know. You know, this one I just do because for me, and that one I don't like, so I won't do it.
There's bands that we never see eye to eye on, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I do recall like some that I can't stand, but is a big crowd favorite, Meatloaf. Would someone do a Meatloaf? So would you do a Meatloaf song? Would you do Paradise?
I can't sing a Meatloaf song. It's, you know, that guy, love him or hate him, that guy is an absolutely amazing vocalist.
How much was it him and how much was Steinman?
He's an amazing vocalist. No matter who does what, that guy can sing, man. He can really belt. And he's got an amazing range and a great style. And I don't cover Meatloaf. My dad covered a couple of Meatloaf songs because he could sing. You know, he could kill it. I'm like 2 inches from, your dog howling at the garbage truck. So, I got to work with what I got here. So, Meatloaf's not in the cards.
It's not. You're not going to do it.
No Bon Jovi either.
But you could do female songs. But when you do female songs, you change them. And I think the last one I remember you doing was Blondie. Maybe one way or another. I can't remember.
I don't think I ever did a Blondie song.
No, come on.
I don't think
it was
did.
Brent.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Could have been Brent.
Hey, Brent, thanks for doing Blondie songs. GS is. I didn't do my homework, so
what gets me about Brent is how much he looks like Debbie Harry.
It's true.
They
shaves,
they could be twins.
When he shaves, especially, he looks exactly like her.
I find him attractive.
He's the most handsome man in Cleveland music.
I think
and we'll eventually have him on to do stuff. But we were talking too. We said you got the total package. I said you're the Ric Flair of Cleveland independent music because you've got the bravado, you got the voice, and you got the talent with the guitar. So, and I think it's just one of those things when you have that, and it's a shame. The people that are meant to see you. That's all there is to it. The people that don't, hopefully they'll be able to see this and be like, man, I want to see this guy one day. When shit opens up in 2025 or whenever the hell it is.
Yeah. But, I'll play him a bunch of my songs, and I might pull out some Cyndi Lauper.
Why not?
Because you just never know.
Why not? And that's the left ball that the left field stuff that I like. Is to say you're playing a couple
nice
of originals
there.
Left ball, right ball. I'm very attractive. He's wearing very, very tight jeans. In my defense, but why don't you go ahead into one of those originals now, Laffy, slappy ass.
I haven't even had my daily weed yet, and I'm already giggly. Well, we'll stay in New Mexico because that's where I'm at right now. I just got back from spending a month down there, and I'm thinking about spending some more time down there, like maybe quite a bit. So not moving, of course. I'm never leaving Cleveland, but I'm going to be spending more time down there. And this is a song that was on my which record was this on? This was on the 16 Winners record.
That was one that I found in
Goodwill?
Goodwill, and I got pissed, and I gave it back to you too, because I don't think you had any more. But I think I bought it for $1, and I was pissed that I found it at a Goodwill store because someone dicked you over there.
No, I always say all of my records are 100% guaranteed. If for any reason you're not satisfied, just give it back to me, and I'll give you a record I don't like.
That's
there's a lot of them, so I understand. It's a subjective thing.
It's amazing.
I'm kind of like Stinky Cheese or joining the military or crotchless underwear. I'm not for everybody. But anyway, this is a song I wrote when I was doing the 16 Winners record. I was thinking a lot about New Mexico and the time I spent out there, and one of the guys that really had a big impact on me early on out there was a guy named Eddie Lee Bullington, and he used to. There's this club in Red River, New Mexico. It's still there. It's called the Mother Lode, and it's a different kind of place now than it was back then. But back then it was a real deal country songwriter place, but it was also a big dance club. And Eddie Lee fronted the house band there. They were called the Timberline Rose Band, and he had some cool records out and did some really cool stuff. And he was one of the early people that kind of I didn't really know what I wanted to do then. This was back 95, 96.
Right.
And I was starting to write songs, but I didn't really have a direction, or I was kind of all over the place. I didn't really know what was going on. And Eddie kind of helped me figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And he used to help me. He used to let me sit in with his band all the time and, you know, try new stuff out and hang out with him. And he's not around anymore.
Is
But
that your friend that just recently?
no, Eddie's been gone quite a while now. But
Too much.
yeah, they have been dropping like flies lately.
Yeah, right, exactly. I say I have to,
I'm looking over my shoulder everywhere I go.
I agree.
Guy's got a robe and a sickle behind me. I'm running. That's But anyway, this is called Ponderosa Breeze, and this is what I wrote about that time back in the '90s, hanging out with Eddie a lot. There's a light that shines in the sky sometimes. Comes round about late July. Really ain't that far, all depending on where you are. Almost always makes me high. Send sweet memories of a pine rose breeze, Spanish love songs, ringing guitar strings, a hardwood shuffle step, a voice I never will forget. It used to be my favorite things. Saturdays out of town, cold beer and the windows down, hell bent to hit the mother load, blue eyes in the dashboard glow, Eddie Lee singing on the radio. Lost track of the miles up and down that road. They're just memories of a pine rose breeze, Spanish love songs, ringing guitar strings, a hardwood shuffle step, a voice I never will forget. It used to be my favorite thing. But her hair still smells like summer in the evenings. Some nights it's almost too damn close to call. Man, if I'd have brought those stars home in my pocket, I'd just toss them in the air and swear I never left it all. Melodies and words that rhyme help to ease my mind. Warm beer, cold food, lonesome hotel nights fill my time these days, and I can't seem to pull away until I drift away one night turn out the lights. Dream sweet memories of a pine rose breeze, Spanish love songs, ringing guitar strings, a hardwood shuffle step, a voice I never will forget. It used to be my favorite thing. A hardwood shuffle step. If you see it at first, tell him I won't forget. It used to be my favorite thing.
More applause. The crowd goes wild. That, you know, I remember this song.
Ah,
You know,
good.
and I think that resonates to say that, because I own it, I have it, and I've seen you play it live before, but a lot of times we forget, and then we hear it again because we don't revisit it enough. And I think that's the problem that we're having right now is I can't come out and see it anymore. I can't come out and see a lot of people, so I got to spin my records and everything, which has been fun, but I can't wait for live music to come back.
I don't think any of us can wait. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I'm going to be doing mostly streaming work from here until things get better.
Yeah.
And I am in no way some people have said, well, that's great for you or whatever else, and I'm in no way implying that it's the same thing as playing live, either for the musician or for the audience. It's a completely different thing. It's a completely different experience. I mean, you're never going to get from a streaming show that visceral, experience of sitting in front of the guy that's singing to you, and that guy's not going to get the experience of seeing you there. It's a completely different thing, but it's important, and it's what we have.
Yeah.
And I think as musicians, we need to take advantage of whatever kind of format we have to use right now to keep, not only our names and our faces, but our songs fresh in people's minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other half of that responsibility lays on the audiences. I know it's not as much fun, and know it's not the same thing as being, packed in a sweaty room with 100 of your closest friends, drinking beers and yelling and screaming and watching a band.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. But much like these restaurants, we always say order takeout. Order takeout, let them know you're still here, help the business out. The musicians need you too. Go to the streaming shows, watch them. If you can afford it, pitch in. If you can't, nobody's mad at you. Just watch. Get some music however you can and help out if you can. And we'll make it up to you when all this gets better.
I felt bad when I do some of them too, when I watch, because I want to watch. Like Chris Allen, when he was doing some in the roaster room, where I film with him too. I'll probably do some pogues or just something fun, but I couldn't give anything. I'm not working. So we're doing good. Everything's okay, but at the same time,
you don't have that extra.
You don't have the extra to do, and I think that.
When you're going to work and getting a paycheck every week, it's not hard to throw somebody $10 or $20.
I agree.
It's really not. And when you're not working and you don't know when you will again, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's the same seat that we're sitting in, and I don't envy anybody who's sitting where I've been all year long.
No. I don't either. I think that there needs to be empathy toward the people, especially everyone's like, go get a job, go find a job. I'm like, dude, they're not hiring right now. As much as I don't want to get political on this thing at all. As much as people say that they are hiring at this point, they are not hiring for specific things that I did.
They're not. And yes, people don't realize, I think especially a lot of people who don't work in a profession like yours, I think a lot of people don't realize that, yes, you could go apply for a job at Aldi's at the warehouse making $15 an hour, and that's a good job for a lot of people. It really is. But when you go back, when this thing is done and you go back to get a job in your field, that's not going to look good.
No.
It doesn't look good to those people who hire professionals in your field. They're going to look at that and go, really, dude?
You went there?
Yeah.
Or at the same time,
it makes you look desperate.
Yeah.
And it makes you less likely to get your old job back.
And they don't want to hire me anyway because they know I'm going to be gone.
Yeah, they know you're not sticking around, so they don't want to hire you.
It's rough. So have that empathy, especially for musicians, for just the person on the street, your brother, your sister that are going through what they're going through. Especially people, me and him talk about it openly. Anxiety, depression, everything. You don't know what someone's going through.
Yeah, especially right now.
And they're going through the worst of times at this point.
And I know it's so easy to get caught up, and I've cut certain places and people out of my life during this thing because I can't take the I, me, mine attitude anymore.
I agree.
It's not helpful. I understand that it feels desperate and that we do all have to look out for ourselves to a certain degree. We have to, but we also can't let go of our empathy. We really can't.
And I think that's the problem.
I'm guilty of it. When I catch myself, when the first thought in my head or word out of my mouth is I, me, or mine, because I've spent so much time, railing against that, it immediately makes me cringe.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where more people need to get. That's where we all need to get. Is that we're not. No matter how much it feels like it, and no matter how much time we're spending by ourselves, nobody's alone, man.
No.
This is bad for everyone.
We're all in this together. Ben Lee, one of my favorite Australian exports, has a song. We're all in this together. It's an amazing song. But that's anytime that I catch myself as well, and it's easy, man. It is really easy to get in that mindset. I think about that. I'm like, no, we're all in this together. This is our fight together.
Yeah.
Let's do something about it. But it's hard, man. It's been hard. And it's a testament. I mean, if I flip this camera around, how long we've been sitting here? Did a waitress even walk by? I didn't book the room. I didn't rent the room. There's just nothing here, man. and that's why we're here. Is to say, come out here and go to the takeout window if you don't want to eat inside, or if there's nothing on the patio. Go spend the money where you can, because unfortunately we got another mandate that came down last week, and it's rough, you know, in Ohio. And I think I have most of my people that watch are Ohio folks. In Ohio, the governor came down and said, fuck around and find out, because in 7 days we're going to do something different if you guys don't do what's necessary.
So in 7 days, you know, that's not, like we were talking about, that's not even enough time for anything to turn around naturally.
No. So there's not always going to be tomorrow. There's not always going to be next week to go see you play out, you know, or see anyone in Cleveland play out. I had someone had the balls to say to me, they play out too much. And I said, what oversaturation? Is that what you're worried about when we're sitting there with 12 people watching someone? There's no such thing in this environment of oversaturation. It's paying the bills. It's doing what you need to do. But again, I go off on tangents way too much. But it is what it is. Support our local folks. Come to El Carnicero. Go check out his other restaurant. If you're in Ohio City, go to Momocho. Order takeout. Come in if you want to. When GS gets up live and streaming, Venmo. You know, send some cash. Send $5 his way. It's the same thing you would do if someone was busking out in front of Tower City to give them a few bucks. Right now we're all struggling, and you know when it comes time when I'm able to, I believe in giving back, and we've done benefits together.
Oh, there's going to be some people getting free shows when this is over with.
That's the key,
because they've been very good to me.
And I think that's it. I said everyone remembers that. We forget about the community aspect of it, and that's what we are. And I got lucky because I can't play shit on a guitar. I might have a voice every once in a while. I could sing some good karaoke every once in a while. But I'm not a musician. But I've been adopted by the musicians in Cleveland because I did support, what I did for them.
You've always been very supportive of all of us. I've always appreciated everything you've done for the scene here.
So that's why when I picked up the phone, which no one does, who the hell picks up the phone? When I sent the text, and said, yes, I'd love to do it, and I think we're going to keep on doing these, and I think this was freaking amazing for our first outing to do this.
Man, if you run out of people, I'll do another one.
Keep on doing it. We'll go. You should just show up at Otis's when we do the one with Ray, and just be like, I'm playing anyway. Get the fuck off the stage. So that's good. But thanks again, and that's all I wanted to make sure to say as I keep on going out of focus. Support local.
Please do.
The chains are going to make it. This, we had a talk with Eric, Chef Eric, about this, and things don't look great. There's optimism, but at the same time, there's reality. And when those two collide, you're not going to like that. He told us point blank. He said, I could stay open, but what if the people from the YMCA lose their jobs? What if the accountants across the street lose their jobs? What if other people said, you need that community spirit, and he gets it to say, we all need to survive in order to do this. And that's why he had us out too, to say, he doesn't have live music here. He doesn't do live music. You usually couldn't fit anyone in the damn house when you do it. But at the same, when it's packed, again, we're an empty bar, but at the same time, I keep on rambling. Any final words? Any final words?
Be good to each other, This is, it's not going to last forever. I know it seems dark, but things are going to get better. And, we'll all be able to do things like we used to do. Maybe not exactly, but it's going to get better. It really is.
Put on our mask.
Yeah.
Come on.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. We both have masks on. We're like brothers, for crying out loud, so it's okay to sit next to each other. But thanks for tuning in. GS, thanks so much for coming out to do it.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll have to grab another one of these before we go. And,
I'm all for that.
And we'll head home to whatever we got to do.
It's pizza night at my house, so I'm not missing that.
That's awesome. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you again
Thanks, guys.
soon.